afternoon or evening, everybody, for depending on when you're tuning in. This is episode 4 of the Driveline Daily Vlog, and today we're testing something new here. Eric Glenn, our new managing director of digital marketing and social media, is on the line, and we're going to try doing a phone call, remote, on the road vlog kind of thing. So we'll see how this works
Hello,
out.
everyone. Yeah, this is we're breaking new ground in this format. It's going to be exciting to see where this goes.
Yes, it is. So you had some notes and some things that you wanted to discuss today.
Yeah, so there's been quite a few pieces of news that have come from various sources in the automotive world. Some sad, some interesting, and I want to go through them if that's okay.
You got it.
Yeah. Hold on. So, first things first, one of the most interesting things that I've seen in recent years is they actually were able to make a black set BMW for the first time. So just to give you guys a bit of background, there's this substance that's made in a lab in England called Vanta Black, which is the darkest substance ever created.
Yep, I've seen this. 99.75% of all light. It's the freakiest thing. It looks flat when you look at it. It's creepy looking.
Yeah, no, it absorbs all light. You can, it essentially just turns anything that's coated with it into a silhouette of sorts. So it's quite unusual. And when I first heard of this substance getting created, I was like, wow, that's amazing. I wonder what it would look like on a car. And thankfully, someone actually went and did it. They did it to a 2020 BMW X6.
Yep.
I gotta say, it looks amazing. I mean, I don't know how safe it is because you're effectively making the Batmobile with this treatment to the car, but it looks absolutely incredible.
So I guess here's the question though. A, how much did the paint job cost? B, will you be able to buy it? C, would you even really want it? Because last time I checked, it's not even really a paint. It's like a polymer that they're spraying on. And I don't know how well that's going to hold up in the rain or anything else. Or if was this just kind of a, hey, this would be like a fun science project for BMW to kind of get involved with, kind of like their art cars. It's you can't have this.
No, I mean, that's definitely typical for BMW to do something beautiful and crazy and never seeing the light of day. To answer your question, you can't get this. They actually don't allow individuals to purchase Vanta Black. You have to go through an approval process to even get access to it because it's such an advanced technology. So that kind of answers your first two points. You can't get it, and it's not going to be available. And, from a cost perspective, it's still in lab state. And then, C, their third question was, would you even want it? I'd say probably not for a daily driver, but God, it looks cool. I mean, it would definitely, you would definitely be able to avoid detection from the highway patrol if that's your goal.
Oh, by the way, just for anybody who's watching that's not a New Yorker, if you look through the rear view window of my car, you can actually see the UN. So that's the UN behind me. I'm stuck in traffic right now. I just drove under the UN and now it's in the background. So just for anybody who was wondering, if you've never seen the UN before, that's that building faintly in the back window. Go ahead.
Awesome.
Oh, by the way, I was watching something last night. So talking about paint, was watching, and you're gonna have to convince me not to buy this, okay? Which you're terrible at. So I should probably call Neil instead. but I was
Probably true.
I was watching oh god, what was it on? It's on Motor Trend. It's Salvage Garage or Vintage Garage, Vintage Salvage something. It's set in England, and they do 2 cars and they kind of restore them and move them on. And generally, the Maserati Biturbo is considered a terrible car. It was horribly unreliable. Whenever you find them, the interiors are destroyed. You just don't want one. Except on this show, they went out and found the nicest Maserati Biturbo I've ever seen. The only thing wrong with it was like the paint, and it was just because it was dust covered and had swirls in it, and they went in and they did like the full key, like hand buff through restoration of the paint. Looked great afterwards. So now convince me that I don't want to go out and buy one of these things.
Well, from just to give you some background on Maseratis, from what I'm told, Maseratis and Italian sports cars in general are like Italian soap opera stars. You know, they're beautiful and fun to look at, but break down constantly. I think that the maintenance and overhead for that particular purchase might exceed the value.
Quickly. Good. Okay, you've convinced me for an hour. And then I'm going to go home and look at Auto Tempest and see what the cheapest Maserati Biturbo I can find in the United States is.
I mean, if you can find it, I mean, I will 100% take that for a test drive for you.
And so what else is going on?
So in automotive news, this is a little bit on a sadder note. Jessie Combs died very recently, and she was, she had the land speed record. She was actually seeking to break her previous land speed record in Oregon, and this was at the later part of August 29th. She was 39, and she was, an innovator. She was, a very, very brilliant vehicle builder, racer, fabricator, and TV personality. She just, she's like, in many ways, like a Neil Armstrong character that, it's going to leave a huge mark on the world of land speed record holders.
Yeah, and it was funny. She was on MythBusters. She was on everything, and it's a real shame. It's a real shame. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, though, as far like it was a crash in her jet-powered land speed car, which happened in the Alvord Desert in a dry lake bed, and they're essentially sitting on the back of a live explosion that's just going horizontal instead of vertical. I mean, there's so much risk involved in that, but in order to push the envelope and actually create innovation, that's part of the risks. It's very tragic.
So right now there's a New York City cop who got tired of sitting in traffic. So he's doing the I'm going to turn my lights and siren on just to make everybody move out of my way trick.
I mean
and now we're going to do this. Oops. And now I'm chasing him.
That's the way.
No,
hopefully they won't catch that.
You know what the problem with this thing is? They put these low rolling resistance tires on the cars, right? On the on the Chevy Volt, so you get the best fuel economy possible. The problem is the car also produces 400 foot-pounds of torque, and so when you stomp on the gas, even if
probably don't want to rear-end a cop.
No, you're not going to, because the problem is when you slam on the gas, all they do is spin.
That's great. How's that car handle in heavy traffic? Do you find that you run out of battery quicker?
No, actually the reverse. So having an electric car has been interesting because what you quickly discover is that where a gasoline car is at its most efficient at like 65, 70 miles an hour on the highway, and when it's cold out particularly, electric cars are literally the reverse. So they do best in stop and go, where you can absolutely capitalize on the regenerative braking, but also when it's hot out, because the battery requires to be at temperature to be most efficient. So you actually charge faster and get more range when it's hot out than when you than the reverse, which is, again, when you got a car, you're better off in cold air and at high speed. So it does really well in the boring stop and go traffic of Manhattan.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of electric cars, I want to talk supercars, electric cars. Have you seen the new Taycan Porsche?
Yes. I want one.
That thing is beautiful. It's got 280-mile range, and it gets this 0 to 60 time is 2.6 seconds. What do you think about that?
I think that's an awesome thing. You know, the funny bit is, though, as much as I really would love one, right, for commuting, what I like about this car is that it was cheap. And the best thing in New York City is a car you don't care about. It really is. The best car for Manhattan is something that you don't care what happens to it. Because no matter what you do, somebody's going to back into it when you park it on the street. Somebody's going to open a door into it. You're going to leave it at some parking garage and they're going to put a scratch in it. So I had the thing for like a month, this car for a month. Brought it, got home one day and I realized scuffs all on the back, like just rear corner of it. Looks like somebody either brushed up against it or whatever. And I looked at it and went, huh, and then walked inside. Just didn't care. If it had been my Ford Focus ST, I would have freaked out, grabbed the compound, and tried to fix it right then and there with my suit on. So the best part about this car is A, not having a manual transmission for the traffic that I am now sitting in, and 2, that I don't care and I can treat it like an appliance, because that also makes a real difference. It's not a bad car. I think it needs different tires. The tires would really you could use a better set on this thing.
I can imagine so. And I mean, the race seats on the old car versus what you're driving currently is a better world of difference for those long commutes.
The Ford Focus seats were actually super comfortable. The thought is that when the seat that's in this car starts to wear thin, what I will probably do is go and buy. When I did like the Lemons racing, you do endurance. Mm-hmm. It's endurance racing, so that you get these race seats, but they're specially designed for endurance racing. So they've got like an angle. It's a fixed back, but it has an angle to it. Lots of cushion, really good bolster support, and they make them. They're for racing, and they're made by a company called Kirky. So what I think I'm gonna do, and the old seat out of the Volvo race car that I shared with my dad had that made into a office chair for me at home, which is great, and it is really comfortable to sit in for hours. So the thought is that when the seat gives out on this car, I'm gonna switch it out for a full-on racing seat.
That would be insane. But I definitely think it would look cool.
Well, I think if I'm still commuting. If I'm not commuting on a daily basis, then I'll probably won't bother.
Yeah. No, I was gonna just to touch back on that point we were talking about for electric vehicles. A lot of these companies have been bullish in the past on EVs, But I think we're seeing like a turning point. Like even the CEO of Porsche is saying by 2025 they're expecting more than 50% of their fleet, 50% of all vehicles worldwide will be plug-in in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I think that this is the future. The only issue is the battery production. That's still like adding to the cost and the weight overall of these cars here as well.
And I guess the question is the battery, how clean is the battery production as well?
I mean, that goes into, that's a whole larger conversation. I mean, when you get into battery production, you also have to look into, okay, so if you're looking at how much energy does it cost to create a battery, how much energy does it cost to make billet aluminum? Like, I mean, aluminum is recyclable, but it requires an amazing amount of electricity in order to even recycle it, because it has to be melted down. So that's a much longer conversation. But speaking of hybrids, have you seen the new V12 Cyan Lamborghini? Evidently the most powerful Lamborghini ever.
I have not. I'm going to have to go online and find it.
The thing is, it's off an 800 horsepower, and it's a hybrid too, which is amazing. And of course, it looks like absolutely beautiful. I mean, that's what you would expect, nothing less from Lamborghini. It's actually supposed to be positioned above the door.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So on to Driveline.
V12.
On to some Driveline stuff. I know you're our new head of digital marketing, social media. Do we have anything, any big things that we want to talk about? Let the audience at home know.
Yeah, so we're going to be having a lot more engagement on the social media front. Everyone should be following us on Instagram at Driveline. We're going to be starting to push a lot more content, and these web series that we're currently recording are going to actually be available in small snippets all over Instagram as well as our Twitter page. And this is going to be a way in which we can start engaging with you more. We're going to actually have giveaways, a lot more social engagement. We want you guys to give us what you think. We want to see what you guys are doing with the app and how you're actually using the tool, and then we want to create a conversation around it.
That's awesome. So one of the things though is this weekend I'm going to get up to New Hampshire, and I'm going to be able to not only map a bunch of roads around Mount Washington, but we are actually going to map the route up Mount Washington. So for everybody who's interested, that will be a podcast as well. I mean, that will be a daily vlog. And that one you'll actually get to see my father in the car with me as we ascend Mount Washington. And I'll make sure to mount an extra camera so everybody gets to see, the view as you go up. I think that'll be a fun bit for everyone involved.
That's going to be great. Anytime we can see the, are you going to be taking the bed out?
No. Actually, I'm going to use the vault because on the way back down, there's a regenerative trigger on this car that engages the regenerative brake. It's not enough to stop the car. It's just enough to slow it down. So the idea is, okay, I'll probably won't have any charge left by the time I get to the top of the hill. On the descent, if I just ride the regenerative brake the whole way down, can I put charge back in the battery?
I think it won't be enough to get you home.
But I mean, just to put something back in. No, because remember, this car's got the gasoline motor too. It's got a gasoline generator.
I mean, that's cheating though.
It's not cheating. It's a range extender. It's just a question of whether or not the regenerative power could put that much energy back into the brakes. Back into the battery.
Well, give me the over-under. How much battery do you think you'll be able to generate from that entire mountain?
On the way back down, Hey, look, if
Yeah.
if I get 3 miles net positive at the bottom, I call that a win.
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna say you're gonna get about a mile, maybe, if that, after that whole mountain.
All
So
right.
we'll see. We'll see. Come Saturday, who's closer? What's the wager?
Oh, I have no idea. Bottle of beer. Bottle of beer. We're gonna call it a bottle of beer.
Works for me.
Um,
Works for me.
Also, you know what? We should talk about, and I think this might be fun to engage our audience with, and it'd be a good opportunity for us to get out there and map a few roads across the country. There is a rally that you can sign up for. It's not like Gold Rush or Gumball where it's for rich guys with really expensive cars. It's called the Lemons Rally. And what they do is you just show up with a crap car, and it's like a scavenger hunt and rally from, I think last year they did it from, it's Moscow to Paris, typically. But I will caveat that with it's Moscow, Pennsylvania to Paris, Tennessee.
I was gonna say it makes sense if it was in Moscow, Russia, because Russian cars are not are by definition lemons.
But you know what the funny bit is Gold Rush, like the one for like the really insane one for super rich guys, they do a Moscow to Paris run as well. But if I was going to show up with that, I would love to go to that one, fly into Moscow, buy a Lada, take it to a shop, yank the motor out and the trans, swap in like an SR20 out of like a 180 SX from Japan, slam that into the car, and then just show up with like this 300 horsepower big turbo monster Lada Riva, and just and just fly down the road passing everybody. That would be hilarious. Okay, I'm sorry, somebody has like glued a hood scoop onto the front of their Buick Enclave. It is not, it is definitely not functional. It is not functional in any way.
See, that's where you're wrong. That actually makes it faster. It's the same principles of as a bracing stripe.
No, dude, it actually catches air. There's no way that's going to catch air. It's not going to actually make the car faster. If anything, it will make it slower. Oh, please let them pass me here on the left so everybody can see over my shoulder. Right now, everybody's got a good view of this Chevy Silverado.
It catches the air, but it also catches the eyes of ladies. At least that's probably his logic when he put it on.
Yeah, except it's an old woman driving it, like a white-haired old lady. That's the even funnier bit. All right, folks, I'm gonna wrap this here, and I'll see you on the road, and just have fun driving.